Studio is great for whatever you want to build in digital form, but for those who want to actually build their model in real life, it's really important to know how the connections are going to work in your model, and that is where the stability tool comes into play. The stability tool is going to give you a pretty good idea of how your bricks are going to hold together in real life, and also show you where the stresses are in the model and where the center of gravity is for various parts. One thing I do want to stress is that while the stability tool is great at giving an indication of where problems may be, hands-on experience can't be beat. So if you have a technique that you're not quite sure of, or maybe there's some connection issues, or maybe you're worried that there's going to be too much stress on the bricks, the best thing you can do is go and get your hands on those bricks and build your assembly and make sure that it's actually going to work. I often do this with my own designs, and I have found more often than not that the stability tool is either over exaggerating the issue or under exaggerating the issue, and sometimes the design in real life is better than I thought it would be in digital form. So it is really important that you try out those techniques and get that experience, because the experience that you have in real world bricks is going to transfer directly over to your digital modeling and make your digital modeling much better. Before I continue, a quick reminder about the Studio Lego Designers Facebook group. This group continues to grow, and there's a lot of great contributions happening from all the members. It is a fantastic, positive group to join and get your questions answered, or offer advice, or show off your works that you've created in Studio. So if you wish to join that community, go on over to Studio Lego Designers Facebook page. The link will be in the description below. As well, for those that don't know, I am a freelance commission Lego designer. So if you have a project you wish to see brought into reality in brick form, then please get in touch with me. Also, I create instructions for other designers, so if you have a design that you wish to have instructions created for it, please get in touch. Thank you so much. Okay, so as a reference today, I'm going to use a commission that I am working on for an Oliphant from Lord of the Rings. If you're unaware, an Oliphant is a great big giant elephant war beast. As you can see, the scale of this is going to be immense, because there is a minifigure standing up against one of the legs. So this thing is going to be massive. It's going to be a great model to demonstrate the stability tool and how important it is to look at all your connections and to make sure everything is strong, because this thing is going to have to be very strong to hold up all the weight that is going to be in the model. You'll find the stability tool on the top bar, left hand side towards the end. If you click on that, it is going to give you a readout of various colors. The darker the color, the weaker the connection. Before we look at the connections though, I want to point out these great big circles that are underneath everything. These are displaying your centers of gravity. You can look at these as sort of how the weight is going to be dispersed throughout the model. Like these freestanding legs, obviously they're going to have the bottom of the feet as the point of connection to the ground, so the center of gravity is fully around them. So that is absolutely perfect of what you want to see. When we get over here, we have this great big circle where it's showing us the center of gravity is around the head, but our head isn't connected to anything. This is just showing us where we're going to want to work towards to get that head to be connected properly. And then we have another little center of gravity up here around the next section that I started to build, where the head is going to connect onto the body. So pay attention to those, because that is going to be kind of a starting point for you to know where you need to reinforce your model. Let's look at the feet next, because they're a pretty simple construction so far. Basically, all this is a shell sitting around a Technic frame with a Technic joint in it, and there's an axle connecting the foot to the rest of the leg. So it's showing us that the axle does not have a great connection, and that these plates under here are also going to have some stress placed on them. And a little bit less of a problem is this plate, which has all of these parts connected up to it. So let's take a look at that outside of the stability tool. So what we have is a few brackets that are connecting the side pieces in, and some clips holding in the toes, and then that axle going through the middle. And if we put that on and click the stability tool, you can see that this plate is under a lot of stress, as well as that axle. And these plates on the very bottom are under a little stress, and the brackets, of course, have some stress, because that's how all the toe assembly is connected. If you were to build this in real life, you would find there probably wouldn't be any problems at all with that assembly. And this is where the stability test will show you where your problems could be. Not necessarily that they are problems, but where problems could arise. I've had other models where it's showing these really dark red connections that things are going to fall off, and they worked perfectly fine. So again, back to the stability tool is there as a guide, but experience in how the bricks are actually going to connect is far more important. Okay, let's look at the head now. The head is really, really complicated. It took me quite a while to sculpt the face of the olifant to get it to look like an elephant. So let's click on the stability tool and see where it's telling us our problems are. So most of the head looks pretty good. We have a few little issues up here around where the eyebrows connect to the rest of the head. The internal structure looks pretty good. And then as we get down in this section, there's a couple brackets in there, and there's these parts that might have a bit of a weak connection, but those are okay because they're not really involved in the structure of the head. As we go down further, we have some areas in here that might be an issue. And here is something that the stability tool is telling me, that these sections in here are going to have a real problem, but in reality they won't. There's a flex tube that's running all the way down through that trunk, and these parts are simply fit on to that flex tube. If you've worked with flex tubes within Studio, you know that they can be particularly fussy. They don't always go exactly where you want them to. So just knowing that when I put those pieces on the flex tube, it's going to be fine, I can disregard this section. But you want to make sure that you at least look at the section to see that, oh, okay, well, there really is no problem there to begin with, because the flex tube is colliding with these parts. If we look in the tusks, we can see that there's a rod going through here, and that's going to be under stress. Obviously, it's going to have all this weight on it, but I've been able to bring the rod all the way through the connecting elements. So there should be no issue with that tusk at all. And here's one of those points that I was mentioning where you're going to have a lot of stresses involved. And that's with where the head connects to the body. I have a big ball joint in there, but that ball joint is definitely going to have a lot of stress put on it because it has to hold up that humongous head. So I will be testing this in real life to make sure that that ball joint can hold. I think it can. I don't think there's going to be an issue with it, but I want to make sure that the head just doesn't flop all the time when it's on that pivot. If I have to redesign that part, I will. And this is where the stability tool can pinpoint those possible problems for you. Another feature of the stability tool is the connectivity. This can check to see if any of your bricks are not actually connected to your model. So we're going to switch to that now. That's in the tab right beside the stability tab. And we can see that it's telling us a few of these bricks do not have a good connection. So down here we have these bricks that aren't really connected well. Of course, these ones aren't connected at all to our main model, and these don't have a good connection either to our main model. This one is probably missing a plate behind here, so we can fix that up. So let's take a look at those sections and see if the connectivity tool is correct. So we're looking at the head now, and we'll just press the L key to make these not visible, and L key again, and I don't see the issue that the connectivity tool is telling me. So we can show all again and go through that one at a time. So everything is connected. Again, make sure to check what the connectivity tool is telling you, but it could be wrong. Let's look at the tusks now. Again, we're going to press the L key and just make that part invisible. We have a connection there. We have a half pin and a rod going all the way through the assembly. So there really is no issue with that connection either. And finally, we'll check around the shoulder and make sure to see if there's any problems there. And this one is showing there are no connections to that shoulder. So the connectivity tool may be wrong some of the times, but make sure to check it, because there are times where it is right, and it would be paramount to know where things are not connected properly. So the stability tool is not the be all and end all to tell you exactly how your model is going to work in real life. In fact, it probably shows more problems than would actually exist in real life. But that's a good thing, because it's far better to overestimate the issues than it is to not pay attention to them at all and have your model break apart when you try to build it in real life. So definitely use the stability tool when you're building, so that you get a sense of where the problems might be happening, where connections are being missed. But as I've said a few times, nothing beats experience of bricks in hand and actually building those sections to make sure that your connections are going to work well and that the bricks aren't going to be so stressed that they're going to pop off. So I hope I've given you some insight into how to use the stability tool and the connectivity tool so that you can create your models to be stronger in reality. If this video has helped you out, please take the time to like, subscribe, and share it around to others who will benefit from it. In the next video, I am going to be looking at those tricky, flexible parts in Studio and seeing what we can do with them and how far we can push the flexibility tool in Studio. Thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. Keep dreaming in bricks. Bye bye.